Hey, welcome to Soundings with Sash. I hope you are joining us. We are having technical difficulties, so if you're not seeing us, then you're going to see us on the rebroadcast. So I hope that you will join us then. And so I have a wonderful guest with me this evening, and his name is Kieran Boyle, and he's been an acquaintance of mine for quite some time. And I know a little bit of his story and about some life challenges that he has overcome and the dreams he went after. And I just want to talk about that tonight with him. So, hi, Kieran. Welcome to Soundings with Sash. How are you?
Oh, good, doing great, Sandy. Great to see you again.
Good, good. So, when we talked about you being a guest on the show, we talked about your life and some challenges that you've had. And I'm just curious, since I've known you for almost 20 years,
Long
when,
time.
when we were young,
Yes.
teenagers, something like that.
Less gray in the hair, too. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, Um, tell me, what has happened, in your life's journey. And, you said you wanted to talk about challenges and, you know, what challenges have you encountered? And let us know how you got through those. How you weathered those.
Well, I mean, everybody has their own challenges, and it's how you deal with them and how you strive to be better or allow those challenges to knock you down. And
Yes.
so I think everybody in life has experienced some form of hard challenge or upsetting news or anything. I think one of the biggest things that stands out with me was when my father passed away when I was young.
Oh.
I had just turned 17. I had joined the military in December 1985, and my birthday was in March, and my dad passed away in April.
Oh.
So, and then on top of it too, it was the same day that my high school graduation was. So, it was either you know take that kind of a challenge and sit with it and let it brew for life and say, oh, my dad passed away too early, who I was very close with and I love dearly, and I think of him every day.
Oh, yeah.
Or accept the challenges and say, okay, well, I got to become a person now of my own being and take those challenges and strive. So, I mean, I think those were probably one of the biggest challenges. I think one of the other biggest challenges was growing up with four older sisters. I mean, like, ugh, like that was a challenge and a half trying to get the bathroom.
You had
So
four older sisters?
yeah, I got four older sisters and one older brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So trying to get
Wow.
a bathroom in that kind of a household was just, cold water all my life.
Oh my
So
goodness, cold water all your life.
yeah. So
Okay, so as you were growing up, and I see
yeah.
that you're into sports. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I think one thing that's really defined me as a person through besides the military and sports, sports was the my crutch. Like if I wanted to do stuff, it energy. I put my energy into that sport. It channeled me to be a better team player. Being able to face different challenges and also work with different people in the mainstream. So everybody has their own personality. So in a team environment, it's very important to get along. And
Right,
if you don't get along, you gotta work with it, right? And it's because
right.
you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with.
There
So
you go.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
So, yeah, so is that what you're taking with you? I mean, is that what formed how old were you when you started sports?
oh geez, I think my like good any good Canadian, I was about 4 or 5 when I was on my first set of skates, and by 5.5, 6, I was playing hockey.
Uh-huh.
And then coming from a good Irish family. It's competitive. Even at dinner time, it's competitive. You got to guard your, your supper, or you're going to lose the dessert, kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
So everything was competitive in my house, and
Right?
growing up, and sports was at an early age. So I
Right.
played soccer, baseball, football, touch
Wow.
football, hockey, lacrosse. I played
Uh-huh.
quite a rugby. I played
Oh
quite a
my
lot. So
goodness.
yeah, quite a
Rugby. Oh
yeah.
boy. So and from an early age. So you just kind of learned how to I mean because every game is different, I guess, right? I
Yeah,
guess that forms you that you don't know if you're going to win or lose on every game that you play, right?
correct. And you get it, to win, you have to give your best at all the time. And those days that, like if I was on a team or not, and if I didn't give my best, you know it as a person, when you don't try your hardest within an environment, and some people dwell on it. Some people, just, oh, well, I didn't play well, and then fluff it off, or it
Wow.
makes you want to be better next time. That where did I go wrong? Your mindset's not in there, and you have to get to the next level.
Right. Right. That I mean that's so as far as life goals, were you wanting to be a in professional sports, or
Well,
was
yeah,
that a goal
I
or
mean, every kid in I think that does play sports, no matter if it's football or baseball, wants to be a professional athlete. I think
right.
one week I wanted to be, a hockey player in the NHL. The next week I wanted to be a firefighter. I think that 2 weeks later I wanted to be a doctor.
Right.
Rocket scientist even came to mind a couple of times. But
Rocket
yeah, I mean,
scientist. All
yeah.
right. 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 And when you're a
You need
kid,
one of
right.
these. Yeah, you need one of these for that, and the gray matter's not there most of the time. But no, I think yeah, with growing up, I did want to play in a professional sports and hockey, and that. I think as I was growing up, I knew I was a good hockey player, but I wasn't great. I was small, so I knew I wasn't going anywhere. And I was
Right.
just hoping that hockey could pay for my education, because I came from a very how can I say, wasn't extremely poor, but my parents did the best they could, best parents in the world. I mean, with 6 kids, it was difficult, but yeah, yeah. So that's where I wanted to go with it, and it didn't work out, and my education didn't work out. So, and as you know, I just graduated this June from university finally.
Well, that's what yeah, I was gonna go
Yeah.
into that as far as to me, starting school all over again, being able to go for your dream, right? So is this part of your dream was to go back to college or
Yeah, it was, I always promised my parents that I would be the first one in my family, just in case all my family's watching, like my sisters and brother, like I'm the guy who did it. That I went to back to university, and I got my degree, first class honors on top of it, which I'm very proud of, because it was a struggle, a lot of challenges there. Um,
I
yeah,
can't
I wanted.
imagine going back to school
Well,
now. Yeah, I can't
It,
imagine.
it's different to go
Right.
back to school after 35, 36 years. And I mean,
Right.
graduated in 1986 from high school, and I'm back in university 4 years ago, with COVID, and so there was a lot of challenges on that as
Oh
well. And
yeah, you're there in the middle of COVID.
yeah,
Ah,
so yeah, so I got my sports management degree, because
that's
it
amazing.
was when I went through the Veterans Affair program here in Canada. So
Okay.
when veterans either have visible or non-visible injuries, or retiring from the military, we try to reincorporate them back into society. And so they do have like a scholarship program,
Okay.
and but there are limitations. It's like a contract. And when I was going there, this is hysterical. I was thinking going to human resources departments for hiring and firing people within in the sports industry. And my son came to me and said, "Dad, like I don't know." I don't know if human resources is your department. I searched the database and I think this might be really good for you at Brock University. And so I was like, "Oh, okay, let me look at it." And
Uh-huh.
yeah, and it turns out to be sports management and at Brock. And my daughter said, "I'm not going to Brock because you're going there, so I will be going elected to go to a different
Oh,
university."
wow. Your
So
your daughter was
yeah,
like, "I'm not going with you."
mm-mm.
That's funny.
Yeah, there was no Ronnie Dangerfield sequel in real life of
Right.
me going back to school with my kid in the same university. So yeah, when I read the sports management, my son was right. That was the right fit for me, and here I
Well, there
am.
you go, your son. Well, that's awesome. Well, hey, Jason. Thanks for joining us. He's joining us from Australia, so
Oh,
he's a fellow.
hey,
Yep.
Jason.
Hey, if the guy from Australia can find our feed, the rest of them should be able to. So,
That's
anyway,
great. International night here. Canada, US,
that's
Australia.
right.
That's awesome.
That's right. We're covering the world here. So so that is really cool that you went forward with that. So challenging, right? So tell me about the challenges. Like what was
Hmm.
your first like okay, tell me about like your first week of going back to college. Like what was that like?
Um, I was really the first couple weeks I was really nervous because you're going back in, you're the old guy in the class, all these kids are 17, well, 8 here in Canada would be about 19 to 22, 4 years, 18. So I would sit down in class and it was actually at first I wasn't really comprehending it. I would
Mhm.
sit down at a seat and nobody would sit by me for like, six chairs that way and six chairs in front and back, right? And I wasn't realizing because they thought that I was either the TA or the professor. And
Oh.
and
Oh,
as
you thought you were being ostracized, huh?
yeah, like I was like, wow, geez, kind of like, the real, you am I something's wrong with me or something like that. And
They thought you were a professor. That's funny.
yeah, and then I just realized nobody wanted to sit by the old guy, right? But
They were
as
afraid
this,
you were gonna tell on them, huh?
well, no, it was just like, oh, who wants to sit beside that guy, kind of thing. And so it
Right.
was kind of for
That's
that
funny.
kind of atmosphere and in environment, it was kind of stressful as it was going back to school as a mature student, but at the same time, being already judged by the students within the program.
Wow.
So it was kind of like, wow, and then the second year, once the word got out that I was well connected within the sports industry, everybody
Oh.
wanted to be my project partners, like, hey,
Oh, I
can I be
bet.
your partner now? Kind of thing,
Oh,
right?
right.
So,
Right.
but I was
Right.
smart. I surrounded myself with the most in intellect and the high grade kids. So I knew that I was going to get good grades to help me out if I struggled in the department kind of scenario, right? So yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. So
Lo-
okay, so you were in college for 4 years. So
mhm.
before that, prior to that, what was it that you were doing? What was happening in your life, so to speak, to make you go into sports management?
Well, I was working with the city of Hamilton in the culture and rec department, and I was dealing with youth and elderly. So I would, it's kind of like a sports programmer,
Mhm.
helping with kids, teaching them sports at a young age or
Mhm.
teenage years, like cooking,
Mhm.
art, different kind of sports rules and that. And in the senior program too was setting up, trying to get them involved into different sports, such as like pickleball, pickleball and volleyball or something
Right.
very low impact.
Pickleball's come back around for some reason all of a sudden. All these
Yeah,
people are
it's
going, "Let's go to play pickleball." I'm like, "What is pickleball?" I don't even I don't even know what that
yeah,
is.
and you know what? As an athlete, so-called athlete, it was very entertaining being schooled by a 70-year-old making me run back and forth on the court. And I think I pulled a hamstring that like the first game because this guy was just toying with me.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was really good. As a fun sport, it's fantastic. Any age
Well,
should play it.
yeah, they're in Kansas City. They have this place called the Chicken and Pickle where it's an actual like big facility now. It's pickleball, Jason. He's like, "What's pickleball?" It's
Yeah,
pickleball. And yeah, I mean it looks like a tennis court, right? So it's set
yeah.
up like tennis.
So it's mixed as tennis, badminton, and ping pong. It's those
Tennis,
three sports.
badminton, I
Ping
love
pong.
those 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's basically a tennis net on a badminton or tennis court, but the
Okay.
paddles the paddles are like a large ping pong with a large ping pong paddle, and you
Okay.
can play singles or doubles, and it's really cool
And
because
the ball is what?
it's like a hard plastic ball.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's what I was right.
yeah, so it's like a glorified ping pong ball that's
A
blown up,
glorified
and it's
pickle.
yeah, yeah.
It's a pickleball.
It's a pickleball. So, yeah, it's very entertaining. It's actually a really good sport. It is coming on. I know in the world that the Olympics has actually looked at it to possibility making it a demonstration sport in the future.
That's crazy.
And that,
Wow.
and I mean, there are world championships for pickleball too. So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
it's
Well,
interesting.
now I'm gonna have to go to try it now. So
It's
so
awesome.
so you've had lots of transition, right? So you were in the military,
Hmm.
and so military life is totally different than civilian life, right? So as far as life challenges there, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think that was one thing that I did learn in university, that the military life and civilian life are night and day or oil and
Yes.
water. That
Yes.
with the military, there's so much structure, um, so much regimental daily activities and mentality that you have to get things done right away. And then with a transition going into a civilian life, a lot of people transition quickly and very, very effectively.
Mhm.
But with my um, friends or colleagues that have retired as well, they do find in the workforce, civilian workforce, it can be hard to adjust because of the lack of structure or scheduling, that kind of scenario. So yeah, it can be yeah, it can be very difficult sometimes.
So so it sounds like you have been very successful in your transitioning. And like you said, I think people struggle between those transitions. So what are the habits that you have that helped you to go through each of these things? Like what is it that you kept throughout that whole time from the military on to being a student? What are the things that you could tell people that you're successful because of what? I mean, what has helped to motivate you and also to keep you on your path?
Uh, uh, that's a great question. I think it changes depending on the situation. Um, I find that I have to take each day per day.
Okay.
Like every day you wake up, make your bed. That's the start of the day. You've
Make your
made your
bed.
bed. You got your first thing done for the day, and it puts you in that mindset of going. Um, you know, planning and mindset of I've already accomplished something. So
Okay, so
small
like time
challenges.
management or something, right?
Yeah, time management, and I think the smallest accomplishments in the morning to set your day to go to work sets the right mood and the right mindset to bring
So
towards work.
so throughout from then to now, that was like kind of your consistency, like you were consistent in that one thing.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay,
It's
what
just
other things? And hi, Robert. Just want to say hello to Robert. Thanks for joining
you're up.
us.
I think the other thing too, I think is always, I learned this through university. It's okay to ask for help. I think one of the biggest challenges that I've always had in my life, because I'm
Mhm.
very competitive, and then also I think it comes with the military side of things, was to able to ask for help is okay.
Yeah,
And I feel that where people struggle that I've encountered lately is they're not willing to ask for that help, and they get bogged down, and it's one
that's
step out of a
true.
time, and then all of a sudden you're tripping, you're falling, and you're rolling down the hill, and there's no way of stopping.
That's
And
right.
reaching out is a big factor that I learned in university. It
Yes.
took me to the third year to finally say, "Hey, I need help here. Can you help me?" And it's an ego thing. It's
It's
100%. It's an
very
ego thing.
right.
So,
Very you have to come at it humbly. And if you were to ask anyone that is successful as an entrepreneur or anything in their own business, what was it that was helping them get through? They looked for somebody who was successful, right? So you have to ask for that help. I mean, you need a mentor, right? So you need someone to guide you and help you. And yeah, if you're not willing to ask for that help and you're self-reliant, I think that that doesn't help. So I see Jason has some
oh yeah,
question here. Um, well, there you go. I think I asked it. I think
yeah,
there's a 20-second delay. So sometimes
yeah.
it's the same mindset. So,
Well,
what's your, Mhm.
also my military background did help me with keeping some strategies and focus for 4 years. The focus
Mhm.
for me was to accomplish it. Um, there's many people that I know didn't think I could do it because of my struggles in education, or my learning disability that I have, or my past
So you
history.
had a
That
learning disability.
Yeah, I'm a very visual person, um, so I can really interact and network and do stuff. However, the reading material sometimes is not my forte. So for me to read, a 15-page reference and then go back to do it, I'm not good at that. And then I have it locked up here. I know the answers, but to apply it into a 2,000 or a 3,000 word paper, uh, my marks would drop. So uh,
Right.
trying to navigate through that was, again, being able to reach out and ask for help,
Wow, that's great. I
to
mean,
network. You have to identify your weaknesses to get stronger. And if
right,
you can't
right.
identify your own weakness,
That's
then
right.
it's hard. You have to look inside and realize that, hey, I'm weak here, and like, it's okay
It's
to fail,
okay.
because failure is learning,
There you go.
kind of
There
thing.
you go.
So yeah,
Most people that are successful have failed first, right? They failed many times
many
before they
times.
were successful, right? And hi, Mark,
Yeah.
and hi, everybody starting to join us. I think our technical difficulties kind of all of a sudden have corrected itself. So, welcome
Cool.
if you've just joined us. We've been talking for a couple minutes, and I realized we had some technical difficulties with Facebook. Facebook is being funky tonight. So, welcome to our live stream. So, Kieran's just talking about how he's overcome the life challenges. And so far, totally on track with what I would say is your mindset, being disciplined and doing a couple inconsistent and a couple things, right?
Hmm.
And then asking for help and asking someone to help you. if there is something that you don't know, humbling yourself and not being self-reliant, and really, seeking out where you're missing the mark. What is it that you need to know? So there, Teresa's from, yeah, she's a fellow Canadian.
How
Yes.
you doing, eh?
Yeah. What do you guys call each other? Just curious.
Canucks, Canadians. If you
Canucks.
live in
I didn't know
Newfoundland
if
and
that
Newfie.
was like, I didn't know I didn't say that because I didn't know if that was PC or not. I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we call ourselves Canucks or Tin
Canucks.
Heads, or
Okay, what
if
does
you
a
live in
Canuck
Newfoundland.
mean? What is it?
It's just
Just
a
Canadian.
lumberjack, and yeah, just a Canadian. That's somebody who wears plaid, red plaid.
Red plaid. All right.
Yeah.
I wear red plaid,
Hey,
but I'm not.
I'm living in Hamilton right now, Teresa. You're about 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away.
Yeah. Yeah. I met Teresa not too long ago. So that's awesome. She's
Awesome.
here in Virginia Beach. So yeah.
Oh, sweet, sweet.
Yes. Yes. And another thing about Kieran is that he was a Kansas City Chief fan before I was. So I'm just saying.
Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Tough loss last night.
Before
Tough
me.
loss.
So
Yeah.
anyway, cheers, by the way. I always
Cheers.
do a cheers
Cheers.
on here, or mugs up
Yep.
if you have a
Yep.
mug
Mugs up. Yep.
or a drink.
Yep.
I hope you all are doing well out there, having a little bit of Chardonnay. But we're just talking about life challenges, and he has had an array of different jobs, I mean, and different challenges. And he was sharing before you guys all joined us about him going back to college. And I think that is just amazing. I personally am like, oh, college, 4 years of it. I mean, that is amazing. And during COVID. So, it sounds like you stayed pretty positive. I mean, how did you, I'm sure you had a down day. So what did you do to pick yourself up and to dust yourself off?
Well, yeah, I had more than one down day. I had a few. I stressed out. I definitely stressed out at the uh, university exam time, knowing that some of the courses that I had were I was already struggling in. So you could see that my whole daily or weekly routine was always changed. My lack of sleep, my interaction with people. It was more short and concise and cut off. I would say, I guess, another word for it would be emotional. Like I would trigger quickly, react quickly, and
Mhm.
instead of listening to respond, like to understand, I was listening to respond. I was more self-indulged in my own little utopia because I was stressing out that I needed to pass this exam. So yeah, there was many stressful days, and I just, what, sometimes talking with people. I know one time I reached out to you when we discussed some stuff,
Mhm.
some situations that we had I had to do. I think also, as I said earlier, surrounding yourself with good people
Right.
is only going to make you better.
Yes.
And being able to have their positivity or their encouragement or their support without any rhetoric or, well, I told you you shouldn't do that, but I'm here to support you. It's a blind support
Right.
speaks volumes. I really found that the people that I didn't expect to help me out were the first ones to step up. That just came out of
Huh.
the blue, like friends from high school or military friends that they could tell that just on my social media interactions that they knew something was up. I hadn't talking to them for, say 8 to 10 months, and then they pop into my chat and say, "Hey, what's going on? Do you need to talk?"
Right.
So
See, I think
which
that's
is
the good
awesome.
thing. Yeah, I think that's the positive part of Facebook is sometimes you can tell if somebody you need to reach out,
Mhm.
and that is the truth. We all go through challenges. I mean, this is not a no one is beyond this subject matter. I mean,
Right.
we all have life challenges of, between relationships and moving and in COVID. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a big one. That was a world changer. Uh, COVID, talk about being a life challenge. That was a world changer. Okay, yeah, there we go. As it was during COVID, online school.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the type that needs to see the board and and hear
Yep.
the teacher. So I'm that kind of learner as well. You have to know what type of learner that you are. And is there any, I mean, is there any books that you would recommend to our audience as that got you through? I mean, I know you were doing schoolwork, so I'm sure you weren't doing like extracurricular reading, but was there anything that
I think what I was doing more of my hobby. I kind of indulged myself and threw myself in on my spare time with a group that I help with in Canada with helping veterans and that. And
oh, nice.
I paint military models and like figures,
Oh,
military figures. And so I kind of went back to that rather than reading because reading is not my forte. It's kind of thing. As I said earlier, that
right.
I'm not. I can read, but I'm just not one to pick up Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Lord of the Flies or and then
Right,
read it. It's just my
right,
daughter's that way. She reads a book a day almost. It's crazy, but definitely not from my side of the gene pool. But
right.
um, yeah, so I went back to my hobby and I just painted away and threw myself into the group to make it better. And for Operation Vet Build to reach out to people that I could help and we couldn't meet as a group and discuss injuries like visible and non-visible injuries. So reaching out
So
to
this
them
is a
on.
group for like people that have had that are disabled that do
Yeah.
this?
So
Oh, okay.
Operation Vet Build is right across Canada now. It's worked through the Royal Canadian Legion, and there's two meanings to the Operation Vet Build. So Operation Vet Build stands for one, building a model, or a painting or focusing on a project, and the
Okay.
other is all obviously Vet Build is building their self esteem, and it targets the Royal
That's
Canadian
neat.
Mounted Police, the military personnel, veterans, or serving members. But the thing also that we do is we target their families as well because the families suffer in silence too with any kind
Right.
of visible and non-visible injuries. So we have little, the geeky model groups all across Canada, kind of thing.
Right.
They donate models, and it's a pure nonprofit. We do not make any money. All the money goes back into supplies or models for the establishments across
That's
Canada.
neat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so we're about 4 years in now, and with COVID, it kind of smacked us right in the middle. So we're starting to upbring it again, and there's, I believe, 38 chapters across Canada,
Oh, that
coast to
that
coast to
is
coast.
really neat. That is
So
really
yeah,
neat. It's something for you guys to do without just sitting down in a therapy kind of session. That is the therapy. That
there it
is
is. Yeah,
really neat.
and
That
it,
is
it's
neat.
it's a proven fact now that since the war in Afghanistan, a lot of the soldiers that have come back or veterans suffer from battle stress injuries or PTSD, and it's
PTSD, yeah.
yeah, and they've proven now that it doesn't have to be model building. It could be guitar. It could be, painting. It could be drawing. Any kind of hobby, gardening, um, focuses that person, and it helps heal them.
That's
And
great.
especially in our environment, we can sit down with fellow veterans and be able to talk to each veteran and not worry about the outside influences, with our language or our mindset or what we see
Right.
or how we describe things.
Right.
So it's such a positive thing, and I
So
think
that's your type of serving. So you're serving So you've hit on main points that I would actually bring up as helping someone get through, tough times. Serving is huge in that. Surrounding yourself with the right people and serving. You know, if you're just sitting at home and isolating, that's not going to help in any way to get through,
Mhm.
those challenges. So that is great. I did not know that piece at all. That is a neat program. I wish we had something like that here.
It started in England, and I think it's called Models for Soldiers, and
Okay.
it's been out there for a while. And my counterpart Craig Hood, who started it here in Canada, took the model from there, and we ran with it
Wow.
across country. And it is really it's impactful when you do see the good that it
Yeah.
does bring out. And we don't want to look at it as a model club. It's not,
Right.
because we're there to help facilitate growth and better mind healing
Like you
for
said,
the veteran
self-esteem.
or the
Right.
family, yeah, and
Yeah.
self-esteem to get them back
So
into.
how do the families actually participate in that?
They just come down. We
Oh, so
encourage
they
them to come
okay.
down and grab a model, start building, and being in
That's
that surrounding
neat.
too, because they suffer in silence. They see what is happening to their loved one, and sometimes they are not um, involved or looked at as suffering as well. Um,
Right.
I think I've been blessed that I don't have PTSD. I never did serve overseas, but I did serve, from 1985 to 1998 with the Canadian military, and
Mhm.
I got to travel the world. But yeah, it's amazing on how families do suffer, and
Yeah.
there's no
I mean, you
recourse
see
for
the
them.
difference in your loved one. Yeah. You
Mhm.
see the difference in their personality. You see the
Yep.
difference. I mean, wow. I really like that. I hope anybody here in the US, if you hear this idea, and I mean, this area definitely could use it, where I'm
Oh yeah,
at in North.
Norfolk would be great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
Yeah. So
fantastic.
anybody, you know, anybody out there that wanted to serve and create something like that, that would be so good for the vets. They really do need that. They really do need that support system, because once you're discharged from the military, like you were talking about, there's a transition, and then there's, you don't have the same support you did before. You don't have the same associations. Most people go move back home, to where they came from in their hometowns, so they don't have the same support, military type of support system. But
Mhm.
that would be a really neat program to bring here. So if anybody's interested, could they reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
The more people, I can, if they're across Canada, I can get them affiliated with the group and within their area. And I
great.
know I have been reached out by a couple of individuals in the United States, and I told them to contact the Walter Reed foundations to see if they can start their own program through Walter Reed, and I think
Ah,
that'd be awesome.
okay. So
Yeah.
so Walter Reed does have something like that, or
I don't know if they do or not,
okay,
but I
okay,
think it would be a great idea if somebody approaches them and
would
says,
be a
"Hey,
great idea.
it'd be a great
That
idea. This is a in the UK and in Canada, it
right,
works, and it's proven by psychological and doctors. It's a written
right.
reference that it helps."
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's a huge piece. Here in, like I said, in my area,
Yeah.
for PTSD and the vets. So that's what helped you get through college, right? So
Yep.
I just can't imagine. I mean, of course I know your story, so I was sitting there going, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you got through school. Um, I wasn't a very good student the first time. I don't know what I would do through the second time, you know. Um, just but you went after your dream, which is
Yep.
amazing. Not many people take that leap, to take that risk, right? So, um, what was there something, I mean, did you have to give up something to make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, it was a combination of a lot of things. Like I have a knee disability from the military, which caused me to fall down playing hockey that blew my shoulder out. So I've got 5 rivets in my shoulder.
Oh,
So
no.
at the time when I was working with the city of Hamilton, I actually had to quit my job because I couldn't do my job anymore because I was in a sling for 9 months. So
Oh,
they couldn't.
my.
Yeah. So when I contacted Veterans Affairs throughout my life, I was never getting the management positions that I should be entitled to because I didn't have a university degree or a college diploma.
Okay.
And I finally, I got a bit. I mean, I think I was in a form of depression. I was gaining weight. I wasn't fun to be around. Put it that way.
Mhm.
Um, and they came in and I took some aptitude tests and they said, yeah, you can go to university. You don't have to go to college. And so that's what pretty well got me there because of my past injuries with the military. It came full circle where I couldn't go. When my dad passed away, I kind of made a a decision to support my mom because they were
Mhm.
married for 44 years. My dad passed away suddenly, and so I kind of said, "Well, I'll stay in the military to help pay bills for mom." And
Mhm.
so I gave up on my education. So all
Oh,
through my
wow.
life, I just kind of just did that until this actually, you know,
Wow.
and it was a full. Actually, I think my university was 4 years full time. It wasn't part
Full
time.
time.
It was daily in class with the kids.
Wow.
Down in the little hungry badger eating, in between my classes, waving at everybody going by, kind of thing.
Doing midterms, the whole deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
4 years straight. I gave up work and everything for 4 years. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's
So it was a big
amazing.
challenge. Yeah.
That I mean, but that's going after your dream. So, I mean, so let me tell you, look, after it all, was it worth it?
Absolutely. I mean, the journey itself was awesome. I would tell anybody that wants to go back to school or get an education or anything that they want to do, don't listen to other people who are willing to knock you down. Step up,
Right.
do it yourself. And as I told my kids,
Yeah.
when they were growing up, is be a leader, not a follower. Because if you're a follower, that means everybody else will decide your life for yourself. If you're a leader, you're going to lead yourself, and then
Yep.
they can follow you and be positive in your leadership though, and being able to turn around and help other people because in the circle of life, the more people you help to get better in the long run, they will come back to help you when you need it.
That's
And
right.
and I think
Wow.
everybody in the
Awesome.
workforce should do the same thing because even if you're the manager, you're only as good as your team. And leadership
That's right.
reflects attitude, and attitude reflects leadership.
That's right. That's right. Very good. Thank you. That's your story is amazing. And you were as you were talking, about other people's opinions of your dreams. Like,
Mhm,
yes, don't listen to criticism from people who you wouldn't ask advice from. And that's the way I go is like, I mean, I'm going to ask advice from those people that I'm going to build around me that are going to be my mentors, right? So,
mhm.
they're usually in the position that I want to get to. So, I would only ask them, if they gave me criticism, I think I would take it. But again, I would only ask those people that I needed the advice from on how to get there. But our paths are so individual and the way that we get there is so individual. Like there is no cookie cutter, hey, I've got 5 tips for you to make it big and blah, 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 blah. Well, that doesn't work for everybody. Everybody's unique. We're not all built the same. We don't all learn the same. We don't all speak the same, communicate the same. I mean, there is no cookie cutter, but you have to be able to know what you want out of life. What is it that you want to do? And once you decide that and have a clarity of that, then you can go to the next step, right? So, I mean, you said you at first you wanted to do HR, but then you were like, I mean, to me, if I would have looked at your resume already, I would have said, yeah, sports management already. your
Yeah.
son was
Yeah.
your son was pretty smart.
Yeah, he was right on it. And I mean, like, how has it paid off already? I mean, I'm a scout with the University of Windsor, which is on the border right beside, like, you can see
I know
Windsor
where
and
Windsor is.
Detroit.
I've been there.
Yeah, Windsor.
I've been there to the casino.
Yes, there you go.
The Windsor
So that's
Casino.
exactly yeah. So Detroit's right across the St. Clair River, and and again, reaching out when I was at Brock, I got to be an assistant coach on the girls' women's hockey team,
That's
and
neat.
that was such an awesome opportunity with Margot Page. She was a fantastic coach, awesome supporter, and she is a person that just supports anybody and anything that she can, because she's, yeah, heart of soul, like golden. And working with that coaching staff, when we went on our own ways, I had to take a year off because my marks started dropping, so I had to take a year, coaching hockey, which I love, or the university part. So I had to go stay with the university.
Right.
And reach somebody that I worked with reached out to the University of Windsor and told them, hey, there's a guy here that knows his stuff, and you need a scout. This is the guy. And now I'm working with Deanna, and for me,
That's
it's
great.
inspiring because I can give other people opportunities now, especially women. Equal. I'm a huge proponent for women in sports, and even I tell them that even if you don't come to the University of Windsor, hockey's chasing you now. Find the best fit where you're going to turn around and choose the right um, university that fits you. Now, yeah, I want you to come to University of Windsor, but if you go to Princeton or Yale or Cornell or Brock University or Concordia or McGill for medicine, make sure it's the right fit for you, because
Right.
it's your life in the future now. Hockey can help you get there, but what is it after hockey that you have to look at? And you're young, talk to your parents. They can help guide you. And yeah, it's been really cool that in 4 years, getting the degree. I mean, my new challenge now is finding a job, and ageism is a massive thing in the world right now. So
Yeah.
that's my next challenge.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to get that job. And it has been disheartening where I've gone on and applied to some of the jobs, and I
Right.
find out that I didn't even get an interview or a letter saying thanks, but no thanks. And then I find out some of the kids that I went to university with got those jobs. So
Oh,
it's really even
yeah.
harder to swallow,
Right.
to say, man, I got all this experience, but they didn't
Right.
hire me or even interview me. But yet this person has zero experience and they got the job. So I'm kind of tapping into them, going,
Right.
what did you do, to get that job,
Right.
kind of thing.
Well, I know something about that piece of it, and honestly, I really think that they think that we're going to ask for more money. I think
Yeah.
it comes down to bottom line dollars, or yeah, I think that they can offer a less salary, and that's what I have experienced in the last year or so, and listening to friends of mine who are been in careers and are transitioning, is it really comes down to they're afraid that you're just going to ask for too much money. And uh and uh, you know i is that ageism, or is it is it dollars, which
Right.
one
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
it? But I mean, you know, getting yourself in the right audience. It sounds like you've done all those things. So I'm sure one of these opportunities, the door's just going to open up to you, with all of your networking and everything. And hey, if you're out there and you're watching this and you need somebody in sports management, he's your dude,
Free
so
agent. I'm a free agent.
he's a free agent. So yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. Kieran, thank you so much. I mean, I can't believe it. We're already at our hour.
Sure.
But I mean, I was gonna share a couple, quotes from, my favorite people, which is Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn being a sports guy himself, but
Mhm.
really, you touched on everything, so I don't have to share even one quote because you did it by sharing your life journey, and that is so admirable. And thank you for coming on here. And let's see. So Jason has one more comment here. So there's a recent movie on Netflix. Okay. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, it's a basketball movie where he finds
Oh.
somebody and he brings them back up and gets them to the NBA. And actually, I believe the actor who portrayed in that movie is actually a Toronto Raptor right now as well. They
Oh.
signed him. So
Okay.
yeah. So yeah. So I know exactly what movie you're talking about, Jason. It's a really good, and it is a really good movie for inspirational. You know, to see how hard work pays off to get
Right.
where you got to go.
And that
Yep.
and that other movie that was out by the football player that used to be the quarterback of the Rams. Have you seen that
Kurt
one?
Warner.
Kurt
Kurt Warner.
Warner.
Yeah.
That was an amazing movie too. That just came out this last summer.
Yep.
And again, he thought he was done also, and he worked in the grocery store. So, it's like, that's what I mean about dreams. Like, don't lose your dream. Know what you want and go for it, and be patient. You just need to be
Yep.
patient. So here's somebody, Karina. Do
Oh,
you know who?
Karina. Hey. Yeah. Oh, high
Awesome.
school chum. Hey,
Oh,
that's awesome.
awesome.
Hey, Karina.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
So
I think I want to say, Sandy, thank you so much for this opportunity that actually you reached out and wanted to hear my story, and that I'm more than happy to come back at any other time. And
absolutely. Absolutely.
but
We'll have you
I
back.
really, yeah, I really do believe that anybody, if you have something in your head to do it, just do it. You got one
Just do
life
it.
to live. Just get out there and do it, and you have nobody else to answer to but yourself.
That's right. That's right. Be your authentic self, right?
Yep.
And and just go for it. I mean, you're gonna hit speed. I call them speed bumps. You're gonna hit speed bumps, but don't let it stop you. It's gonna slow you down, but don't let it stop you. So just go
Right.
for it, and you're part of this. And thank you for being on my show because this is part of my dream. So, I'm just going for it, and you know, we'll see how it goes. And hi, Kim. She's my best friend. That's my best friend. Yep. Never give up. That's awesome. Thanks, Jason, for
Thanks,
saying
Jason. I
that.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. That's really nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, your story is amazing. And so we're gonna have him back on because we want to know he's not the chapter's not over. So we need to know what happens in the next chapter. So we're definitely gonna have you back on, Kieran. Thank you. I can tell that you're a great coach because you touched on all the things that you've learned throughout and how you can inspire others. And so we thank you for inspiring us tonight. So
Well, thank
thank
you.
you all for joining, everyone. And I hope that you guys just write down your dream tonight. Tonight, sit down. What do you want to do? It's not too late, right, Kieran? It's not too late.
Nope. Nope.
It's not too late. So go for it. And Kieran, you're an inspiration. Thank you so much. Thanks for being
Thank
on
you.
my show. Thank
All
you.
right. Cheers.